Hello, fight fans. Welcome to Bruno's MMA show. We're going to get to UFC 257 in a moment, but first, I really want to address Max Holloway's last fight because since it happened, I haven't addressed it against Skater. That guy's now on the next level, and I really think that his fights against Volkanovski have made Holloway even better. It's like, like steel sharpens steel, and I really believe that those two fights, because Volkanovski comes from the same school as Adesanya, and they're tricky, and the angles and all of those things. And I don't know if it's me, but I have the feeling that Holloway in that last fight he had against Cater just had a next level of angles and trickery in a way. So sometimes like when you deal with something and or you're facing someone of a certain caliber, it also makes you better. And see, the fight was so amazing. I'm stuttering. Uh, and I'm not saying that Caterer's style is the same as Adesanya, but I was one of those who thought that Holloway also won that last fight with Volkanovski. I think Holloway should be a champion right now, even though it was a close fight. Like, I'm not offended by the result. I just thought Holloway won. All that to say, I think Holloway's on another level now, and I do believe he wins a third fight against Volkanovski, against who he has 2 losses on paper. But it was just amazing. It was just the usage of angles and where you are in a fight. It was because everyone talks like the boxing, yeah, but he was also kicking. It was like, it wasn't just boxing. It was just like the usage of angles. Just because he threw more punches, people were really obsessed with the boxing. Sure, he would dip and throw hooks to the body. It was a thing of beauty. But I think it's more than that. I really think it's because the range for kickboxing and MMA is not the same as boxing. So I don't know if people should be calling it boxing. I'm being nitpicky here. Anyway, it was amazing. Now, on to UFC 257. There's a few things to unpack, and okay, I already made everyone wait by talking about the Holloway's last fight. I'm way late on that, I know, but let's then address like the main event. Okay, first of all, the fight, McGregor against Poirier. I'm happy Poirier won because first of all, like, look, there's things McGregor does that Poirier doesn't do. So as a person, I'm happy Poirier won. I mean, like, like, Poirier doesn't give you reasons to dislike him, if you will. He doesn't punch old people in a bar. And again, we don't know if he's guilty or not, McGregor, but like, Poirier is not accused of, like, let's call it sexual misconduct, like all of those things. So I'm just on that level, I'm happy Poirier won, but also because it's just like, I'm happy that it shows something to the casuals, right? And that's so petty of me for that to be a reason, but McGregor is an amazing fighter. He is an amazing fighter, and he's world level. And yes, on any given day, with proper matchmaking, he can have a UFC belt again. Sure. But proper matchmaking is kind of like the key words here. And for example, as much as people are, I'm going to give an example here. As much as people are giving Tony Ferguson trouble for his past 2 losses, I think Ferguson still beats McGregor, So that's my opinion on the 155 division right now. I don't think McGregor is at the top of the feeding chain, which is not to say he's not like a world-class talent. He can beat up a high percentage of the people on the planet. But for the 155 division in UFC, I don't think he's the champion. I don't think he can get there. Like, I feel very confident saying that McGregor will not be champion again, unless maybe he cuts weight back to 145, but then he has to face Holloway, and I think Holloway also beats him now. I mean, given McGregor doing the proper weight cut and being weakened by it, all those things. So what does that say? Like, to me, it's kind of like, media is often like, when McGregor fights is good for MMA. Media is good for everyone. And I get it, but as a fan of MMA, I don't like what McGregor does to MMA. And the kind of attention he brings. And I don't have anything against casuals, but I hate when casuals misinterpret something. So for them to think that McGregor is like the big fish in the pond, no, he's not. Like, in popularity, sure, but he's not really not. And so many, like, the narrative that we had going into UFC 257 of, McGregor lost against Khabib last time just because he wasn't in it, he wasn't disciplined. Like, no, McGregor would have always lost against Khabib. And again, this is not dissing McGregor. It's just like a freaking fact of who Khabib is as a fighter. Like, Khabib is next level against anyone. Poirier is cleaning house, and he still lost against Khabib. So no, there's no world in which McGregor beats Khabib, motivated or otherwise. And this is something that the casuals need to see to understand. And I don't care if it hurts the sport in terms of popularity. To me, MMA is about who deserves it, and it's not about who's the most press-worthy celebrity. Okay, like that's basically what it is. So on that level, I'm happy Poirier won, and I'm happy that maybe we can start moving on. And for McGregor, I think the only fight left to make of significance would be like, maybe if they tried to do a rematch with Poirier. I'm sure Poirier would like the money, and they can kind of spin it like, it's 1-1, right? But Poirier has become so much better since last time. And McGregor hasn't been in competition that much for the past 5 years. And MMA striking has evolved so much in the past 5 years. It is insane. So no, maybe McGregor goes off to box Pacquiao. Who knows? It's kind of interesting. I don't know if the casuals, I don't know how they're gonna spin it, because last time they were already trying to be like, he lost because he wasn't motivated, as if we hadn't seen McGregor struggle, even in victories that he had, as if we hadn't seen him struggle against wrestlers who are nowhere near the caliber of Khabib, But whatever. I think maybe they do McGregor Poirier again with the argument that it's 1-1 at the moment to make a trilogy. Maybe they run Diaz again, but I think what's going to happen with McGregor very soon is that, and again, he's a world-class fighter, but I think what's going to happen very soon is that the casuals, like the blindfold, is going to be taken off their eyes. They're going to see it for what it is. And that's my opinion on this. Where McGregor is a really great fighter, but he's not the top dog of 155. He's not the top dog of 170. Oh my God, can you imagine McGregor against Usman? Oh my God. Usman would, I don't mean to laugh disrespectfully, but then again, he's punching old people in bars, whatever. Usman would have so much fun collecting that paycheck. It would be, I don't know, I don't know where to go with McGregor from here. I think what they should do with McGregor, if I was running UFC and all that, they should do stuff like the BMF title. Give him something that the casuals will be like, he won a belt, but it's not a meaningful belt in that sense. It's just for fun. Like, MMA fans will know it's for fun, but casuals will be like, look, he's holding a belt. So I think going the BMF route, like the belt Masvidal won against Diaz, I think that's the way to go for McGregor. Anyway, now, one thing I also want to address, I was really happy with the top 2 results. Michael Chandler beating Hooker. Now, I don't have anything against Hooker, and this is going to sound like the most stupid reason ever for me to be happy with who won, but there's this narrative that being a champion in any organization that's not UFC means nothing. There's this narrative going on, again, with the casuals, and I find the fact that Chandler won and the way he won at least sends a message. Look, there's talent everywhere. Mighty Mouse is having real fights at one championship. Like all of that. Bellator has great talent, even though they have a history of cringy fights as well with like older fighters who are out of their prime or freak fights or celebrity fights, whatever. Although UFC also took CM Punk on, so so I'm of the opinion that, look, I like Chandler and I like Hooker. I don't dislike any of them, but because I'm kind of neutral on who wins, I'm kind of happy at least that there's a realization now of, hey, there's legit talent outside of UFC. We're seeing it more and more. And I think when Ben Askren arrived in the UFC out of prime, with a style from another era, with a messed up hip, it sent people the wrong message. Oh yeah, he was the champion Bellator and won, but look at what's happening now. But they didn't look in reverse on the other side, like the UFC fighters who went to one having a real fights. Like look it up, like Alvarez and Mighty Mouse. Anyway, so if only for that reason, I'm kind of happy that, oh look, and also it makes 155 more interesting. Like Hooker already lost against Poirier, so he wasn't gonna fight for a belt next. But now you have like Chandler coming in, like making a statement. So you have another name floating in there: Oliveira, Poirier. Like Chandler. Do we bring back Gaethje in there because Poirier and Gaethje both lost against Khabib? Maybe they were both the last interim champions, and a lot of people seem to be dismissing Gaethje a little bit in the discussion in the sense, he just tried and lost, but Poirier also tried and lost against Khabib. It's like basically they were the two belt holders, never lost against anyone after. Therefore, it would make a lot of sense for me. If I was in charge, I would first of all do Poirier versus Gaethje. Winner of that is the champion, and then all the other names go against him. So it's interesting. Like Poirier, Oliveira, Chandler, Gaethje, in the current shape of 155, I don't know which one of them wins. And I'm going to be honest, it also depends who faces who at what time. For example, I don't think Gaethje would do well against Oliveira. Oliveira's jiu-jitsu is so next level. Like, although maybe Gaethje would be able to stop the takedown, but then again, like with tricky jiu-jitsu, you can sort of entangle someone sometimes. It's not really about the wrestling takedown. You can kind of do other stuff. Then again, I'm already reconsidering it. It's a lot of fun 155 right now. And I think Khabib only comes back for GSP. I'm sticking to my guns on this one. I think the only way Khabib comes back, I don't think he's coming back at this point. If he comes back, it's for GSP. Now, one last thing I want to address about UFC 257. And in my previous episode, I was saying how Dana White was basically being a douche about, streamers, like, you're going to cry. And he's basically bragging about how he's going to go after, like, one person in particular or something. And he was going to, like, bring down the hammer of the law. And, just saying that they would be willing to destroy that person's life if he could for streaming fights. And I already said I think UFC is way too expensive. Way too expensive. Like here in Canada, you need Fight Pass and then you buy the pay-per-view for $60-something for one night of fights. And you need Fight Pass already. In the US, ESPN Plus, and then you pay. Apparently in the UK, BT Sports, where sometimes it's free, I think. And last night was a pay-per-view that was about $30 or so. It was like 20 euros, I think. But it's geo-blocked. It's in the UK, right? As a complete side note that has nothing to do with what I was talking about, I know that there's like Surfshark and other VPN, companies that help you change the country that you appear to be in. So, for example, if a website is geo-blocked, you can just pretend to be in the UK. I don't know. Just saying. And just as a price comparison for no specific reason, those VPN, like Surfshark and all of those, ExpressVPN, I think, is one. They cost less per month than a UFC pay-per-view. No reason, just I'm just randomly. This is an MMA show. VPN stuff has nothing to do with it. But there's countries that are like where it's less expensive and it's geo-blocked. But Apparently, there's ways around that. Yeah. Okay. And something funny happened where streamer, it's like illegal streamers had a perfect, like apparently they could watch like the whole main card no problem, and people who paid for a pay-per-view lost, like they couldn't see the first 3 fights or something. So it's highly suspected that well, I mean, I'm no expert with computers, but some people say it's because they were trying to put some safety measures to stop pirates, and that messed with the ESPN showing of the fights. Or other people are saying that actually, like, people online were like, "Oh, you want to go to war, Dana White?" and they messed with the feed, whatever the term is. And so that's interesting because you see, like, Dana White always wants to pick fights, and he's like a bull in a china shop. Like, he thinks every problem is just fixed by being bullheaded. And I've said before, this whole COVID thing where the UFC did it great, but I don't think it was because of Dana White or his attitude towards COVID. I think it's more like the people around him. He was set on making it work, and people around him found a way to make it work properly. Because he was talking about Brasilia as if that was like anyway, Brazil as if that was like done right, but it wasn't. So, hey, Dana, apparently you bit off more than you can chew. Who knows? Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like, that guy is always like trying to he's flexing so hard. He's flexing so hard. Look, no one's gonna blame a company for trying to fight against streamers and pirating. But when you're like bragging about grabbing some person who's like just streaming, say, yeah, it's illegal. But like when you're bragging about like destroying their lives for streaming a show, like, you're just showing a lack of empathy and humanity at this point. You're not just like, hey, look, we're protecting our product. And no, he was really making it very personal and very cringy. And it seemed like some old guy who doesn't understand what the internet is. And he doesn't seem to understand that not everyone's like has a fucking yacht, and is super rich like he is. That for a lot of people, they can't pay for those pay-per-views. And yet the irony is that very often, like, people who stream that stuff and can't pay for it, like, they're still gonna end up giving UFC money in another way, more than if they hadn't streamed it. Like, I understand as a company you can't be like, oh yeah, streaming is cool, I get it. But the reality is that people who can't afford a pay-per-view and watch through streams, they're still going to talk about it. They're still going to talk about the product. They're still going to end up buying a t-shirt sometimes. Like, I don't know, buy a t-shirt of Israel Adesanya, of Conor McGregor, whatever. They're going to... It's still, like, people who wouldn't have seen the fights any other way because they couldn't have afforded those crazy, stupid prices that the UFC is putting up. So it's just a stupid move. Again, a company cannot go like, oh, that's cool, streaming is cool. But to go after people that way, it shows such a lack of understanding of the world we live in. And Dana White is an interesting character to watch. He's charismatic in his own way. But I cannot wait for the day that we're rid of him. I really can't, because that guy is from a bygone from another era. And this narrative that he saved MMA is bullcrap. He saved a company called UFC, but MMA was coming. It was coming. It was on its way. Pride was in Japan. Like, it was only a matter of time. What they did was destroy the competition. That's what they did. They created a monopsony. Anyway, for anyone interested in that, watch my episode with Rob Macy of the MMA FA, Mixed Martial Arts Fighters Association. But yeah, no, basically it was such a stupid move of Dana White to be like, oh, I'm going to go after, like, one guy, I'm going to make him cry. See what you've done? You shot yourself in the foot, Dana. Whatever. Okay, everyone, thank you very much for watching. See you soon, fight fans.